Hello, all you Starcitizens out there. It's your boy Skip, and with 322 around the corner, we thought we'd go into what we're still got to expect for 321 and what we should be expecting for 322, as well as a little bit about the playtest for Pyro that is coming out soon. Now, a lot of the things that are coming into 322 are just being ported over from Squadron 42 for the reason that we have been waiting for Squadron 42 to go into Polish Pass before they wanted to release these items into the PU. But now that we have got Squadron 42 in Polish Pass, we're seeing a lot of these items being ported over. Now, even though that most of these items are ready in a single player environment, porting them over into a server environment with mass multiplayer is a little bit of a different job. So, like we kind of got explained at CitizenCon, we may not see absolutely everything being ported in straight away for the same reason as, we need to have server meshing, replication, and all the other mechanics to work with these actual tech that Squadron 42 already has and doesn't require all the background tech to work. Now, before we get into 322, I thought we'd go over what we still are waiting for in 321, because there's actually a couple of things that we haven't actually gotten yet. And I think the big one that I'm kind of excited for is the Argo SRV and the ship tractor vehicle tech. This is going to be really interesting in seeing what players do with this tech in-game. I could only start imagining the chaos that is going to ensue when someone just soft-tests your ship and then decides to take you all around the verse for a little bit of a joyride. I think it's really going to be interesting tech, but it's one thing we're still waiting is the Argo SRV and the ship track tech. Now, there are two other ships that are yet to come out, one being the Trumbler Storm. Now, I'm kind of on the fence about this one because I was really excited when I saw the profile of the tanks, and I still haven't done my tank video. I know I'll get into that. Being that I'm a tanky myself, I was really excited to see that this actually looked like a tank, and then they went and slapped a really small gun on it. So, I don't think this is the tank that we're looking for. I still don't think it should be called a tank. Maybe an IFV at the most. I'm not going to get into it because I can talk on for days about how Star Citizen has stuffed up all the tanks. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what it's like when it comes out. The one that I'm really excited for is the C1 Spirit. This is a really cool ship. It's going to give us more cargo. We're going to be able to fit more vehicles in it, and I would really like to see, this kind of be my little daily driver until some of the new ships come out. The reason I like this ship is that I'm really all for ships that I can get in and out of quickly, and the C1 and the A1 are very easy to get in and out of. So I'm really excited for that one. Now, there are some other tech coming out. One is really core to the game, and the other is actually a really nice thing to have, which is ship trespassing. Now, I'm really excited for ship trespassing as well, being that, there is a multitude of times that we've had people on our ships that we haven't been able to get rid of, or they had stowaways where we've had to have someone watch it, and just general griefing in the most part being a nuisance and annoyance, and now we can actually deal with that. So I'm actually excited to get this in and see how it works. Now, the big piece of tech that we do require before we move into server meshing and getting into 4.0 is the replication layer. I haven't heard much news about the replication layer, whether it's working or what are they actually doing with it, whether they're on track to getting this out for 322, but we kind of need it in 321 or 322 at least before we move into server meshing. If we don't have it, then there's no real point doing server meshing because we can't transfer all our player data onto the next server as we transition between the servers. It is actually a piece of crucial tech to be able to have the backbone of all the server meshing. It is a little bit disconcerting that we haven't seen any information about this, where it's at, when it's coming in. Maybe there is nothing to worry about. Maybe there is. This is the one thing that will hold up the pipeline in moving to 4.0 on Pyro. If we don't get replication layer working, then we don't get server meshing. If we don't get server meshing, we don't get Pyro. I would have liked to see a bit of information about that at CitizenCon, or even maybe a post-CitizenCon to tell us where the replication's at. However, it is still tentative on 321. So again, concerning that we don't have this confirmed for 321, and hopefully we at the latest get it in 322 and then roll straight into server meshing. That leads us into what are we going to get with 322. Obviously, the biggest thing we need for 322 is server meshing. So we can kind of get it out of the way, and hopefully we see that coming out. Again, like I said before, we need the replication server first, and then we can roll into the server meshing, which will roll into Pyro. Some of the other things that are being ported over from Squadron 42 into the PU now are character customization. The fidelity of the characters now compared to what they are currently is actually really cool. I hope that they do bring in the entire customization of the characters. Again, like I said before in my previous video, customization of the characters is on another level. I don't think I've actually seen the customization to this level on any other game anywhere else. So it'd be really, really cool to see that come in, and I'm going to have a lot of fun trying to play around with all of them. Some of the other things we're going to see coming into 322 as well is our weapon improvement. We've seen some updates to the sounds already in 321. I think they're going again with some of the other weapons to upgrade them to the same level or improve some of the other weapons sounds and force reaction tech as well. So really, really cool being an FPS player, loving the ground combat, seeing some more love to our weapons is always really, really good, and making them feel like they're either heavy or they fit their class role a little bit better. As well as the sight improvements. I think that was one of the really, really cool things we saw at SitCon is finally having the proper scope-in-scope sights that we see in a lot of games these days. Some other things we saw at SitCon coming into the PU pretty soon, being ported over from Squadron 42, was the HUD improvements. Now, whether we see these coming in 322 or a little bit later, depends on how much they can actually fit into the tech for PU. I believe the HUDs look pretty on the nose to get released for PU, so we'll just see if they come out. Also, new settlements and new outlaws have come in. This is really cool. Again, it gives us more spaces we can go do our own gameplay, run events, and just do cooler things around the verse. And adding some new outlaws, the sand people, dusters I think they're called. It's just, again, another group of people that we can fight. I think everyone's getting kind of sick of killing Ninetales, so some new people to go around and shoot your weapons off at. So the next two things that I'm going to talk about are probably tentative, is tweaks to the reputation system and water tech. Now, there's been some hints that they're going to start tweaking the reputation system to affect other parts of the gameplay. So good guys do good things, bad guys do bad things, and it should affect both sides. There's been some talk and leaks about that actually being fixed or changed in some way in 322. And also having water tech come in. Now, to what level we're going to get that water tech in, I'm not too sure. Again, we don't have too much water at the moment in the PU. I think Hurston and Microtech are really the only two places we see it. Whether that's going to be rolled out to a couple of other places, so there's a couple of ice planets that may have, you know, frozen lakes that may turn into lakes now, or whether we start seeing the river system widely used is really my guess, is what level they're going to actually do this at. So that's why we're kind of putting this, the tentative spot for 322 is the water tech. So the next section is kind of what possibly could go in 322 and is more speculative. So one that I would really like to see in 322 and get towards the end of the year is freight elevators. I think we all were pretty excited about freight elevators, especially when it came to being able to deliver vehicles up to the ships. The amount of time we spend even setting up events to go to another place to get our vehicles and then come back to the event. It's going to be really nice to be able to spawn a ship, grab your vehicle, and then head to an event, especially if you die and you have to go get another vehicle and then head back to the event. It's really, really time consuming. So this will cut down on a lot of time for a lot of people running other events. And I think CIG understood this, that it took a lot more time. It's too overcumbersome to be able to run events without having to be able to get back into the event with other players. Kind of once you've died, the event's kind of over. So really, really good to see these freight elevators coming in sooner rather than later, but we haven't heard any word that it's going to be in 322. The other thing that's kind of been teased for 322 was the new cargo types. So there's going to be a myriad of new cargo types they're going to add in. I have noticed that even in 321, they've added some new cargo types. So I feel like this is just an evolutionary stage to this, that they're just going to add so many different cargo types that it makes you have to decide what is good and what isn't, and gives CIG the option to be able to, you know, diversify where you go to actually do cargo and make you actually really think about what you're doing and where you're going and selling and buying and all that sort of stuff. Now, a couple other things are being leaked too as well. Engineering mode. Now, whether we get the new engineering mode in its full state that we see in Squadron 42, or whether we get some sort of tier 1 into the PU, again, speculative. But we did see it live at CitizenCon, so it suggests that the tech is ready, and whether the integration into the PU is ready is kind of where this kind of lies. So whether we see a tier 1 of this first in, and then they follow on to actually releasing it in different modules, or whether we see it all in at once, or even just waiting till 4.0. We don't really know. There hasn't been any indication of whether it's going to 3.22, but I'd be speculative because of how far it is along. Now, this leads on to the next one that I'm really excited for, and I hope it comes into 3.22, which is the fire tech. I think, again, reiterating what I said in my last video, if you haven't seen it, go check that video out. The fire tech in this game is some of the best fire tech we have seen in gaming ever, period. CIG has done a really, really good job of simulating the propagation and realistic nature of fire. Trust me, I know our country is currently on fire a lot. We burn every year, so Australians are kind of experts in this field, and it actually looks really, really cool. I can't wait to have to fight fires in VR in my own ship. I'm gonna have like nightmares for days. The last two things we want to talk about here kind of lead into the wildly speculative mode. So these are probably mostly unlikely to come in, but would be really cool if they did. And then the last one is the vehicle that we wanted to talk about. So animals and space whales. I've heard a lot of people saying that, you know, this should be easy to come in. If they're already ready and working, it should come in. But running AI on any system is taxing. You know, running a herd of 100 cattle would be taxing. So whether CIG wants to bring this into 3.22, I don't see it adding any value at this stage. So as much as everyone is echoing that, you know, oh, we're going to see space whales and animals maybe in 3.22, I would probably be against it for CIG to add this in because it adds real no value to the game at this stage. And now the last two that one is speculative and one is being kind of leaked that it's going to be released in 3.22 is the mobile crafting vehicle. Now this is particularly interesting because I didn't think crafting was along far enough for them to add it into the game. Apart from, like, we have seen crafting in the Vulture, I didn't know if they had any other crafting. So whether we're going to see crafting in the simplest form that we see in the Vulture, which is you add a bit of scrap in there, and then you pop out a module or a gun or whatever like that, that'd be really cool. But the Argo mobile crafting vehicle has been leaked to be coming out in 3.22 before the end of the year, which I found really, really interesting. It's kind of cool. Everyone likes crafting, but whether this is going to be a complex crafting mechanic that we see, or it's just going to be very basic at this stage, I kind of put the Argo mobile crafting vehicle in that speculative mode, not so much for the vehicle coming out, more for the functionality of the crafting. I didn't want to get anyone's hopes up thinking that that was going to have some sort of complex crafting mechanic in just yet. Probably my speculative thoughts would be it'll be as basic as you see in the Vulture. So I just wanted to go over the Pyro playtest that's coming out soon. Actually, as of recording this video, it should literally be a couple of days away. So really exciting to get in and actually look at Pyro and get around and see all the sights. A couple of things we've been warned about is the actual visual effects of Pyro are a little bit lackluster. People have just said because of a couple of the tech that is coming into the PU that this may change in the future. There isn't as many landing points available to be looked at. That was in Evocati. They've said they've only got 3 systems at the moment in Evocati. Whether that gets opened up to everywhere. However, someone was in conversation with one of the devs at CitizenCon, and they did said the entire Pyro does exist. They have gone around to the whole thing. So they've only locked it down, I guess, to stop anyone from leaking screenshots of cool new locations or giving too much away, because as we know, a lot of things get leaked all the time. So just like the fact that it's going to be locked down a little bit. Now, whether this changes for everybody else's playtest or whether they do just keep it locked down, because again, they don't want to give everything away before it is released, is anyone's guess. So I would be hedging my bets that they'll keep it locked down just to give a little bit of a teaser, get you guys excited for Pyro, because it's moments away from getting there. Once we get, you know, the replication server and server meshing in, then there is no reason to hold Pyro back. Anyway, that's everything that we think that is going to be coming into 3.22. Pin this video, give it a like and subscribe so you can see when 3.22 comes out, whether I was right or whether I was wrong. Comment down below what your favorite thing, what you're waiting for, and what you want to see coming in 3.22, or what you think is going to be in there. Or if I've got this wildly wrong, tell me in the comments. Anyway, until then, I'll catch you guys around the verse.